Hey everyone, this is What Your Pastor Didn't Tell You. Today we're going to be talking about why I think modern day Young-Earth Creationism is actually a really strong position. To those that saw my Facebook post the other day, this will be a bit longer, more detailed version of that. So yeah, I'm probably going to be hated by all sides of the discussion for saying this, but I think there are good reasons to be a modern day Young-Earth Creationist. Most people today who open up the book of Genesis without knowing anything about it conclude the text is a literal, journalistic account of the creation of the material world in 6 days. The text mentions that God told the humans of Genesis 1 to eat plant. It doesn't mention anything about eating meat, so it's reasonable to conclude that God didn't tell the humans to eat meat. Most people I've spoken with conclude Adam and Eve were the first humans to ever exist, as well as sin. The sin appears to cause everyone else to sin, as well as experience physical death. If you say otherwise, it seems to bring to question the inspiration of the New Testament writers as well as Jesus when they reference the book of Genesis. The text in most English translations doesn't mention anything that existed before Genesis 1. It's also reasonable to conclude that the text of Genesis would be able to be fully understood by people with little experience reading the Bible because most passages in the Bible are easily understandable by the 21st century reader. If we add up the genealogies given in most English translations, we'd get around 4,000 years from the time of Adam to Jesus. Then add another 2,000 years from Jesus to now, and you get 6,000 years. Most arguments against the long ages of Genesis 5 to 11 are actually really bad and don't get you anywhere close to hundreds of thousands of years. Therefore, it seems reasonable to conclude that if we add up the days of Genesis along with the genealogies of the Old Testament, it seems as if the world can't be much older than 6,000 years old. While I think it's totally reasonable to conclude the above, I realize the Bible in general isn't an ancient document written in a different language and context than we live today. Therefore, it shouldn't surprise anyone that it needs extra care compared to something written in the 21st century. The more I read the text of Genesis, the more I realize it's not as clear as I originally thought. I don't think it's as simple as adding up the ages of the genealogies. The book of Genesis is a beautiful but complex document which gets completely missed if one thinks of it as a 21st century journalistic account. While I think the modern day Young-Earth Creationist perspective is very strong, I think pretty much every reason I mentioned previously has some major issues with it. If you're interested in understanding why, make sure to check out the rest of my videos on my channel as well as subscribe and enable notifications so you will know when I post more content about the book of Genesis. This is What Your Pastor Didn't Tell You.